Tonight, actually, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, and everything else in between and on either side, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, will give his fourth State of the Union address, his fifth speech to a joint collection of Congress. The first State of the Union address wasn't actually a State of the Union address. He'd only been president for a few weeks. So, some people call it that. So you could say this is the fifth time he's giving this speech, but it's the fourth formal his State of the Union. And the thing that I find so fascinating is that the Republican / Koch brothers / right-wing billionaires / fill in the blanks strategy that was laid out and worked out in many ways. Actually, maybe I should back out the Koch brothers from this part of it, but in that caucus room restaurant meeting the night that President Obama was inaugurated the first time, January 20th, 2009, where that 15 or so members of the House and Senate, Republicans and Newt Gingrich got together, and Frank Luntz, and basically said, if we can successfully prevent this president from having any significant accomplishments, and if we can keep the economy in the crapper, in the tank, people will blame the president. Because most people don't dig deep enough to know that, Congress plays a role. Most Americans don't even know that the Constitution gives 100% of the power of the purse to Congress. That all spending and taxation legislation must originate in the House of Representatives and then be signed off on by the Senate before it goes to the president to be signed into law. We used to teach that stuff in civics class, and maybe we still do in some classes, some places, but for whatever reason, I would say the vast majority of Americans are clueless about the process of governance. I mean, nearly a majority of people eligible to vote don't vote. In fact, I think nearly a majority of registered voters don't vote, and therefore it's a majority of eligible. It's in that neighborhood anyway. It's astounding. So you end up with, if somebody wins the White House with 55% of the vote, a little over half. That's only that's half of the people in the country who are eligible to vote. So that's a quarter of the people in the country are setting our course for the future. But anyhow, the net of this is that because the American people basically assume that whatever's going on during a presidency is the responsibility of the president, because we have a press and a mindset that's almost imperial. It's like the president is the king, right? He's the one in charge. The Republican calculus. Well, it wasn't even calculus. It was hardly even algebra. The Republican math was very, very simple. Don't allow the president to be successful at anything he does. If he is successful at anything, yell and scream about how horrible it is for years. You know what I'm talking about here, Obamacare. And make people think that it's not a success. Jump on any little problem. I mean, Medicare Part D had almost identical problems rolling out, as did Romney Care. Republicans didn't, nobody knows about those things because those were both Republican proposals. So the reason I'm going off on this is that, I got the Victoria Jones's Talk Radio News notes today, and she says, since the rise of modern polling in the 1930s, only George W. Bush has begun his sixth year in the White House on rockier ground than Obama. Now, this is not to say that it's entirely the Republicans' fault. The obstruction is entirely their fault. They're all about that. Keeping the economy in the tank is all about the Republicans. 25 states not signing up for Medicaid expansion, and thus blocking free health insurance to 5.2 million people. That's all the Republicans. Laying off 800,000 government workers in the states over the last 5 years. That's all Republicans. That's happening in the red states. Red states are poorer, have more people on unemployment, have higher, bad health outcomes, higher rates of teenage pregnancy, higher rates of obesity. I mean, you name the social indicator. The red states are in trouble, and they take more from the federal government than they give. The blue states give more than they take. The red states are the takers. They're basically welfare states. And yet the Republicans who represent the red states are the ones who are constantly screaming about those damn people on welfare, right? Their own state, apparently. And the more they hurt these folks, the more they hurt the working poor, the more they hurt the working people, the more they hurt the middle class, the more they hurt people right across the spectrum, the more those people blame the president. So the Republican strategy is actually working. And the only way that Obama has been successful in getting anything done, frankly, is by going around the Republicans. In his last State of the Union, Annie Rose Strasser has a great post over at the Think Progress blog. Some of the things that the issues that he raised. Well, minimum wage. A year ago, he called for a $9 minimum wage. Congress, two members of Congress simultaneously introduced legislation that would have raised the minimum wage to $10.10 over a 3-year period. The Republicans blocked it. So, nothing happening for Obama. Climate change. He said, we've got to do something about climate change. The Republicans have blocked it. He did use the EPA to start regulating carbon dioxide, but it's a long way. I mean, this whole thing, energy security trust, dead in the water. Immigration reform, Republicans have blocked it, even though much of it was Republican initiatives. Education, he called for a $75 billion investment in preschool programs over the next decade. Last year, no. In fact, because the Republicans, because of the sequester and the Republicans shutting down the government, all this, 57,000 kids have been kicked out of Head Start. We've gone backwards. Housing. Last year, he said, right now there's a bill in this Congress that would give every responsible homeowner in America the chance to save $3,000 a year by refinancing at today's rates. Did it go anywhere? No, the Republicans blocked it. It never even made it out of a Republican-controlled committee in the House of Representatives. Foreign policy, this is one of the areas where he could go around Congress. He's actually negotiating with Iran. They don't like it. They're trying to block it. They're trying to blow it up. Gun reform, he promised gun reform. No, Republicans have blocked it. And, economic recovery. He talked about these promise zones. He was going to focus on 20 communities. Sorta. But again, executive action. Don't count on Congress.